Wonderful, thank you. Who would like to read it? Who'd like to find out more about it? Wonderful. So, you're in a good space to do that. So, before we read Bhagavad-gita, we get into meditation. Thank you. You can turn around, that'd be lovely. And it just gets us into the right state of consciousness. So what we normally do is I'll sing a sentence and then you sing and repeat back. And before we do that, just take a deep breath and let go of everything. You know, whatever's been going on today, this week, this month, just let it go. Because you're in the temple, and the temple is really about having some peace and some, just to nourish the soul. You know, we feed the body, sometimes we feed the mind, but this is feeding the soul. So as you're singing, just notice grounding yourself. Raising our consciousness, because when we raise our consciousness, we're happier, we make better decisions, we're more joyful. And so when we call out, Lord Krishna has many names, but when we call out Vasudev, it's because we're asking him to raise our consciousness. So please repeat after me. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo. Thank you, that's wonderful. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. So today we're reading from almost the last key verses of the Bhagavad Gita. So, in a way, we're actually starting with the end. chapter is called The Perfection of Renunciation. And the verse is 1866 and 1867. So what I'll do is I'll just read the Sanskrit and then the translation and then the purport by His Divine Grace Bhaktivedanta Manor. And then after that, maybe we can have a discussion, or if anyone's got any questions. So, Sarva Dharma Parityaja Mamekam Saranam Raja Aham Sarvam Sapebhyo Mokshami Ma Suchaha. Sarva Dharma Parityaja Mamekam Saranam Raja Aham Sarva Sapebhyo Mokshami Ma Suchaha. So Lord Krishna is saying to Arjuna, abandon all varieties of religion. Just surrender unto me. I shall deliver you from all sinful reactions. Do not fear. So, the Bhagavad Gita, ladies and gentlemen, was read by Gandhi every day, and many philosophers. Of course, they were Western, but within the Indian culture, the Vedic culture, it's read by almost everyone. It's the most popular text. And it starts with Arjuna's got a dilemma. And that dilemma is about making the right choices. Sometimes, we just want to do the right thing. But we're often confused. Because whatever decision we make, in the back of our mind, we think, is it the right decision? Am I going to get it wrong? Will I hurt other people? Will I hurt myself? And so, how is it that I can make a decision where everyone can be happy? And the reality is, it's very difficult to make a decision where we think everyone will be happy. So Lord Krishna is saying, that focus on your duty. And when you're doing your duty, here Lord Krishna is saying, surrender it all to me. Because then there's going to be no bound. If you work for me, if you can hear me, then there'll be no but fear. And why is it that Lord Krishna almost ends the Bhagavad Gita by saying, surrender unto me, do not fear? Because, ladies and gentlemen, fear is the one thing that drives all of us to make sometimes bad decisions. When we had COVID, people were scared of dying. They were scared their loved ones would die. If we're not dealing with COVID, then we're scared of losing something in this world. It could be money, it could be a job, it could be even an irrational fear. Sometimes, if you're a young parent, you're always worried about keeping your children safe. So here Krishna is saying, do not fear. Because when we are fearful, our choices are sometimes very imperfect because we're doing it emotionally. So let's see what Srila Prabhupada is saying. And I will read at a pace where I hope that you will have an opportunity to absorb what Srila Prabhupada is saying. The Lord has described various kinds of knowledge and processes of religion. Knowledge of the Supreme supersoul, knowledge of the different orders and statuses of social life, knowledge of renounced order of life, knowledge of non-attachment, sense and mind control, meditation. He is described in so many ways, different types of religion. Now, in summarizing the Bhagavad Gita, the Lord says that Arjuna should give up all these processes that have been explained to him. He should simply surrender to Krishna. That surrender will save him from all kinds of sinful reactions. For the Lord personally promises to protect him. In the 7th chapter, it is said that only one who has become free from all sinful reactions can take to the worship of Lord Krishna. Thus, one may think that unless he is free from sinful reactions, he cannot take to surrendering to the Lord. To such doubts, it is here that it's said that even if one is not free from sinful reactions, simply by the process of surrendering to Sri Krishna is automatically freed. So Lord Krishna has explained the whole Bhagavad Gita. He's explained about meditation, he's explained about knowledge, he's explained knowledge about the super soul, the Atma, the Paramatma. The Lord has explained about the different social stratas, knowledge about letting go, detaching. Lord has explained about not to get so attached, what happens when you get attached, what happens when there's non-attachment. Lord has also explained about different types of religion and how to control your senses and your mind. So after all that knowledge, the Lord is saying, just surrender unto me. So in the 7th chapter, it's said that to be free. So the other thing is that Srila Prabhupada is explaining is that sometimes we feel very guilty about what we might have done in the past. We might have hurt somebody. We feel we've let somebody down. Maybe we've done things that we, are not so proud of. Here, the Lord is saying, Srila Prabhupada is also saying, and the Lord is saying that don't sort of stay on a guilt trip. Try to just let go and the Lord is telling us, like we tell children, every day is a new day. You just start. You don't hold grudges. So here the Lord doesn't hold grudges against us. It's just saying, just wherever you are, start. Because the process of surrendering can be done at any point by anyone. There's no one in this world that doesn't deserve to enable them to surrender and to find happiness and joy. So Lord Krishna, there's no need for strenuous effort to free oneself from sinful reactions. One should unhesitatingly accept Krishna as the supreme savior of all living entities. One should unhesitatingly accept Krishna as the supreme savior of all living entities. With faith and love, one should surrender unto him, and the process to Krishna is described in the Hari Bhaktivedanta. Anukalasya sankalpa vatikulasya rajanam yaksha shivati vishvaso gopitre varnam tata atmanikyakshe karpanaya sadviti sarangati. According to the devotional process, one should simply accept religious principles that will lead ultimately to devotional service of the Lord. So here, Srila Prabhupada is saying, sometimes we follow religious principles that may actually be quite divisive. Sometimes we may follow a religious principle where one says, well, I'm a Brahmin, so I'm therefore I don't mingle with Sudras. Well, that's not going to help them to develop love, because of course the Lord is Paramatma within everyone's heart. There's a verse in Srimad Bhagavatam that says, Krishna Vasudevaya Hari Paramatmani Pranata Klesha Vashaya Govindaya Namo Namaha. So, as the Lord is in everyone's heart, and so where there's a soul, there's a super soul. So it's not pleasing to the Lord where we follow religious principles that are divisive or judgmental or contradictive to a place of experiencing love and compassion and forgiveness. So one may perform an occupational duty according to his position or social order, but if by executing his duty one does not come to the point of Krishna consciousness, all his activities are in vain. So we all have an opportunity, ladies and gentlemen, to be able to realize Krishna through our duty, where we are in our life. Now, Arjuna is a Kshatriya and he doesn't want to fight because he feels that if I fight, I'll hurt my relatives, and really it's a huge cost. I don't want that confrontation. But equally, our duties are, occupational duties are as a wife, or a husband, a mother, a father. You might have your duty professionally. It's okay, you can take her out and just settle her down and come back. Come back again. So we all have duties, and what Lord Krishna has said earlier, and Prabhupada is saying, is that don't run away from your duty. Better you do it faultily. Even if you think you're messing up, better you do it, at least you're having a go, than to run away and do somebody else's duty. So here, if we're not applying ourselves in our ashram, sometimes, for example, if you're a mother and you're working and you're trying to balance the home and all the expectations that you have of your family and then your work, and sometimes it's quite challenging, isn't it? It's quite exhausting. And so Krishna is saying that, if you're working, do your work. If you're in a situation where you're looking after your children, look after your children. If you're in a situation where, no matter what profession or what situation you're in life, just be grateful and do your duty. Don't put a judgment on it. Ultimately, through patience and tolerance, this is what Dharma is about, that we actually create a resilient character. So, Srila Prabhupada said there's no need of thinking how one should keep the body and soul together. Krishna will see to that. One should always think himself helpless and should consider Krishna the only basis for progress in his life. So here, Srila Prabhupada is saying, surrender completely to Lord Krishna and he will take care of things. And so, of course, the doubtful mind comes in and says, well, no, nobody's going to help pay the bills, nobody's going to, wake the children up or bathe them or sort them out or, continue with your job. So here Lord Krishna is saying, don't run away from your duty, do your duty, but what we have to manage is our expectation. So we're not overly endeavoring, and then we find that we are actually quite cruel to ourselves, and then we end up being cruel to others because we're so frustrated. So I hope that you understand here what Srila Prabhupada is really saying. Sometimes, ladies and gentlemen, we find ourselves in a situation where we really want to, for example, when I was growing up, my family was saying, well, you've got to study all the sciences. And I was like, no, I just want to study history and geography. And I'm like, it's not going to give you a good job. If you study sciences, you can be a doctor, you can be a dentist, you can be all the wonderful things that our parents expect our children to be. And really, I sat for 2 years, so bored. It just didn't interest me. But here, we all have tendencies, we all have things that give joy to our heart. And so we know what our karma and our duty is when we feel so comfortable doing it. So Krishna is the only basis of progress. And so the question will be that, well, I don't know who Krishna is. Well, in the Bhagavad Gita it explains that Lord Krishna is within the heart as Paramatma, and he's always guiding us. We don't know how many lifetimes we have, whether we've had lifetimes as human beings, as animals on other planets, rocks, stones, any kind of living entity. But in the human form of life, we have a high level of consciousness to be able to understand that. So we know that Krishna is so kind that no matter which body we're in and we're transmigrating, he never leaves us alone. The other thing is the Lord is everywhere. He's in everything, but yet he remains pure and uncontaminated. And of course the Lord appears as a person whom we can worship. And to be able to really understand the mind of God. Is he a vengeful God? Is he an angry God? Or is he actually a very kind God? We can only do that and really understand who we are by reading the Bhagavad Gita, by reading the Bhagavatam, by finding out about Lord Krishna. Who is he? What's his form? What is his qualities? What is his pastimes? Because that ultimately helps us to understand who we are, ladies and gentlemen. In the Vedic tradition, in some other traditions, we often see, like in the Michelangelo pictures, of a vengeful God, or a God that's so far removed. We don't know what that God is. But in our scriptures, we see that God is very personal, and he interacts with us. And we can perceive God not just through our senses, what we see and what we smell and what we hear, but by doing sadhana, chanting Hare Krishna mantra, having a clean diet. When we say clean diet, not putting intoxication in your body, eating sattvic foods, that helps us to perceive more finer levels of understanding. And so that's how we can get to know Lord Krishna. And of course through his devotees. So Srila Prabhupada is telling us that as soon as one seriously engages in devotional service of the Lord Krishna, in Krishna consciousness, at once he becomes freed from all contamination of material nature. So contamination of material nature means sometimes, we follow irreligion, falsity. We see falsity all around us. Bluffing, cheating, lying, hypocrisy, quarreling, harsh speech, lust, anger, greed, fear, doubt. This is all material contamination. Because we don't know who we are, so sometimes we follow the media, or we follow the large crowd that tells us, you should look like this, you should eat this, you should drink this, you should go here, because then if you hang out here, you'll be cool, you'll be acceptable, you'll be lovable. You should have this job. You should. There are so many things that we are sometimes encouraged to do that take us more and more away from our soul identity. So we're feeding the mind, we're feeding the body. We think we're feeding our consciousness depending where we are. But actually, who's feeding the soul? The soul of who am I, why am I here? What is this life about? Is it just like the animal that I eat an animal eats, I sleep an animal sleeps. An animal defends, I defend. I get protective, I get defensive. An animal mates and I mate. What's the difference between us and an animal? And actually, media will promote that. Look like this, do that, yes, you'll be, you'll be more acceptable. But actually, the Bhagavad Gita brings us back to remind us that actually there is more to us and are just eating and sleeping. But one who surrenders unto Krishna does not have to execute many methods. So this Srila Prabhupada is saying that sometimes we think that, I've got to do this puja, I've got to pay this amount of money, I've got to do these austerities. But actually, Lord Krishna is saying to surrender to Him is very, very simple. That simple surrender unto Krishna will save him from many unnecessary wasting of time. One can thus all progress once and be freed from sinful reactions. One should be attracted to the beautiful vision of Krishna, his name, because he's all attractive. But one also becomes fortunate. So just by looking at Lord Krishna and taking his darshan, Srila Prabhupada is saying that by beholding his beautiful vision, that all auspiciousness comes to us. Srila Prabhupada says there are different types of kinds of transcendentalists of whom are attached to the impersonal Brahman vision. So sometimes, ladies and gentlemen, we think I'm God, everyone is God, God is everywhere. But that's a very difficult process for us to understand God. The way we can actually understand God is to read about Him and experience Him as a person, as you can see on the altar. So just before the curtains close, you can behold the beautiful Lordship, the Lordships. One should be attracted by a beautiful vision of Krishna. His name is Krishna because he's all attractive. One who becomes attracted to the beautiful, all-powerful, omnipotent vision of Krishna is fortunate. There are different kinds of transcendentalists. Some of them are attached to the impersonal Brahman vision. Some of them are attracted to the super soul feature. But one who is attracted to the personal feature of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Above all, one who is attracted is the most perfect transcendentalist. So there are different ways of actually realizing the Supreme Lord. But here, Srila Prabhupada is saying that the most wonderful way of experiencing the Lord is actually seeing His beautiful form. The particular words used here is Masuchaha, do not fear, don't hesitate, don't worry, are very significant. one may be perplexed as to how one can give up all kinds of religious forms and simply surrender to Krishna, but such worry is useless. So, if you want to stop worrying, please come sit here. Otherwise, I'm missing. So, if you want to stop worrying, ladies and gentlemen, just surrender to Krishna. Because he will reveal within your heart whatever it is that's going on. Ultimately, when we are not connected to the Lord, we will feel fear, and we will feel doubt and uncertainty. That is the way of this world. And every single human being, even if they show a front that I'm really confident and I've really got this, here Srila Prabhupada is saying that, Krishna is saying that every human being will experience fear. But unless you surrender to the Lord, then he can take that fear away from you. And that is by having faith. So the next verse, Lord Krishna goes on to say, is that this confidential knowledge may never be explained to those who are not austere or devoted or engaged in devotional service, nor to one who is envious of me. Herbert by His Divine Grace, Bhaktivedanta Manor. So let me just read this again, because it's very profound. This confidential knowledge may never be explained to those who are not austere or devoted or engaged in devotional service, nor to one who is envious of me. Herbert by His Divine Grace, Bhaktivedanta Manor. Persons who have not undergone austerities of the religious process, who have never attempted devotional service in Krishna consciousness, who have not tended a pure devotee, and especially those who are conscious of Krishna only as a historical personality or are envious of the greatness of Krishna, should not be told this most confidential knowledge. So that's interesting, ladies and gentlemen, that the knowledge of the Bhagavad Gita isn't for everyone. And actually, what will happen is that those who are not austere, those who are not following principles, those who are not undertaking devotional service, it will be a mystery to them. So they'll open the Bhagavad Gita and, the understanding will be very limited, if any. It is, however, sometimes found that even demoniac persons who are envious of Krishna, worshipping Krishna in different ways, take up the profession of explaining the Bhagavad Gita in a different way to make business. But anyone who desires actually to understand Krishna must avoid such commentaries. So, Srila Prabhupada is saying it's really important who you hear the Bhagavad Gita from. If it is somebody who is motivated by money, by fame, by power, wants to be seen, then it won't make an impact. So the person who's speaking the Bhagavad Gita, the person who's sharing it, must also have purity of consciousness. Otherwise, if we go to those who charge, or they hold us up there and they're collecting lots of money, then the motive is more about raising finances and not sharing this truth, which one should never have to pay for. So Srila Prabhupada is saying that sometimes we found that demonic persons who are envious of Krishna, worshipping Krishna in different ways, may take up the profession of explaining Bhagavad Gita in a different way to make business. But anyone who desires actually to understand Krishna must avoid these commentaries on the Bhagavad Gita. Actually, the purpose of the Bhagavad Gita is not understandable by those who are sensuous. Even if one is not sensuous, but strictly following the disciplines joined in the Vedic scripture, if he is not a devotee, he cannot understand Krishna. And even when one poses himself as a devotee of Krishna, but is not engaged in Krishna conscious activities, he cannot understand Krishna. There are many persons who envy Krishna because he has explained in the Bhagavad Gita that he is the supreme and nothing is above him or equal to him. There are many persons who are envious of Krishna. Such persons should be told that the Bhagavad Gita, for they should not be told the Bhagavad Gita because they cannot understand. There's no possibility of faithless persons understanding the Bhagavad Gita. Without understanding Krishna from the authority of a pure devotee, one should not try to comment on the Bhagavad Gita. So here Srila Prabhupada is also telling us it's important which version of the Bhagavad Gita you read. I know there are many versions of the Bhagavad Gita which are mostly in academic circles. So a lot of them are about, sometimes they're about philosophical speculation. But here, if you haven't read the Bhagavad Gita, ladies and gentlemen, please, go and get yourself a copy. It's probably the only book that you would need to read, because in there you will understand about the soul. Who am I? Why am I here? Why is there suffering? Why is there joy? Why are some people more happy? Or why is it that life works out for other people and not? Why is it that, how can I make good choices? What is this cosmic manifestation about? Is there life beyond this planet? Are there other life forces? Why is it that sometimes I feel happy and sometimes I feel sad? Why is it that sometimes I feel lonely and I've got everyone around me, but deep within my core I can feel alone and isolated? Why is it that what is it that I can do to provide deep inner happiness? What is the soul? Who am I really? If I am the spirit soul, why have I got this body? Krishna also tells us that if we really want happiness, then we start to begin to understand our identities in relation to Him. Because ultimately we come from the Supreme Lord. But because of our choices, here it talks about being envious. Sometimes, ladies and gentlemen, we can find that it's difficult to trust people. Or sometimes we feel that if I've got something, others will want to take it away. The nature of this world is that we want what's out there because we feel that will make us complete. And then we get the fat car, the house, maybe the position, the title, and then still we're feeling, well, actually this isn't completing me. So maybe I need to make more money. Maybe I need to rise in the ranks. Maybe I need to change and alter my body because then I'll be more lovable, I'll be more acceptable. But actually, what we're doing is we're going round and round in circles because what we're looking for is that deep connection. Sometimes we look for that deep connection in relationships. We want to have a sense of connection with a parent, with a partner, with our children. And we may feel that I haven't got that connection. The outside world tells me that, the other person, if they're perfect, then I'll be happy. So we're often looking for happiness outside of ourselves. We're looking for connection outside of ourselves. We're looking for somebody to sort it out. We're looking for somebody, that perfect person, that makes us complete. But actually, ladies and gentlemen, what we're really looking for is at a soul level, we're looking for that deep, deep connection with Guru Krishna. But here, Srila Prabhupada tells us that if we have envious qualities, we have lust, anger, greed, envy, hypocrisy, quarreling, harsh speech. You know, we are living in a world where it's full of hypocrisy and quarreling. So how can we detach ourselves from all of those kind of elements? Sometimes we may feel we have to be hypocritic to be able to manage relationships or to manage our professional career. But here, Srila Prabhupada is saying that unless we overcome all these impediments that get in the way, what is making me angry? Why do I feel frustrated? Once we can overcome these difficult emotions that sometimes we all experience and carry, then we can really find the connection. But ladies and gentlemen, there's hope. We start by chanting. We start by choosing sattvic foods. We can start by, if you haven't got a Bhagavad Gita, please go get one. And we've got them in English, Hindi, Gujarati. It's about we feed our body, we nourish our mind, we nourish our soul. So I'm going to stop there and just ask if anyone's got any questions or any comments, anything anybody would like to explore about what we read today. Don't all rush at once. And by the way, no question is, a bad question actually. If you're thinking about something or you've got a comment, everyone else will benefit.
I have a question.
Yes, please. Can you just come here, sir, so I can see you?
Oh.
Because
I heard you saying that.
Please consider.
I heard you saying that we can know ourselves and then we can find ourselves by reading Bhagavad Gita.
Yeah.
I used to read actually, but not very frequently. But
Yeah.
I couldn't find a real answer. How do you find yourself, or what is your purpose, or things like more,
Yeah. So in the Krishna consciousness, please have a seat or get a cushion.
Yeah.
Have a seat.
Yeah.
It's quite complex, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's like, who am I as a person? What should I be thinking? I'm not in control of my emotions. How can I be in control of my emotions? How can I be a better person? How can I be happy? I want to do all of those things and nobody tells me how to do it.
Yeah.
So the Bhagavad Gita is the start. In Krishna consciousness, we talk about Guru, Sadhu, and Shastra. So one needs to have the Shastra. Another person, one also needs a guru, a teacher, somebody to guide us, and a sadhu, somebody who we can speak to, open up, and say, look, I'm going through this challenge. Somebody who's confidential, somebody who you can trust. So these are really important things, because what you're talking about is absolutely profound. That this is why Bhagavad Gita it's a mystery. If you try to read it by yourself, you may feel frustrated. Actually, I don't really feel like I can understand. I'm doing it on my own. But this is why we say Guru, Sadhu and Shastra. First of all, start with the Bhagavad Gita as it is, because there are many versions. And I did a fellowship in Oxford on the Bhagavad Gita. So I can tell you there are many academic versions. So if you're reading it, it may feel very academic. But here, Srila Prabhupada is, sometimes this truth is very piercing, it's like an arrow. If you're envious, you can't understand. And when you think, but I'm not envious. But actually, when you sit with a guru and a sadhu, and say, okay, what does that mean? Help me to understand. then that, having association is really, really important. In the old days when people studied the Bhagavad Gita, they studied in a group. So at Bhaktivedanta Manor, we have Bhagavad Gita classes. Yes. There are thousands of people who've gone through that process. We call it Bhakti Shastri, but you can check online, go on the Manor website or the School of Bhakti website, and there's you'll find we've just had a 5-week course on the Bhagavad Gita, and there was a retreat today. So everybody from wherever they were came together. But there are so many different courses that are going on. If you really want to study the Bhagavad Gita, I would say to you, you seem like that person, just go on the website and find a course that will help you, that will fit around your timetable, and do it with somebody else.
So it is in coordination with the guru. There will be a guru who will actually...
There'll be a teacher who will teach, and then in that time you can also, because in Krishna consciousness we say guru and sadhu in Shastra, because guru is somebody that you think long term, I want to advance in my spiritual life. I know that I want more, and I know I need more. So then it's about looking around and saying, okay, who can be a guru? A guru could be anyone. Yeah? But a sadhu is somebody who you can also talk to and say, tell me more about the Bhagavad Gita. So in association, because the Bhagavad Gita, Lord Krishna only speaks the Bhagavad Gita when Arjuna has a question. The Srimad Bhagavatam, Parikshit Maharaj, Sukadeva Goswami only speaks when Parikshit Maharaj has a question. So that's one of the aspects of etiquette that a shishya, that he asks questions and then the guru answers, or a sadhu will answer the questions. But you're absolutely right, sir, because is life really about just eating and sleeping and mating and doing a job and trying to have fulfilling relationships, trying to make great choices, and often we feel frustrated or we're not feeling that sense fulfilled. So if we're not feeling that, that's because you're not numb. See, sometimes we're numbed out by society because society says, eat this, look like this, wear this, be this person, then you'll be perfect. And we'll chase that often till the time we die. Or the false ego tells you, I'm right.
What will others think?
Or what will others think? And actually that's a really powerful one, because we're always looking for validation from people who actually might not matter. Yeah, but when we're deeply connected to ourselves, we're looking to serve. And when Arjuna finds out, okay, I'll do my duty, but I'll do it I'll stop thinking about me. This is the problem in society, that we often, it's not a problem, but it can be a problem, because here we're brought up in a culture to serve. Now, when you serve in a family, you're a good son, a good daughter, a good daughter-in-law, and it's abused, then we want to hold back. We don't want to serve. But here Krishna is saying to Arjuna, don't worry about upsetting your relatives. Don't worry about what you have to do. Do your duty for me. Now, if I know who Lord Krishna is, I know his qualities. And when I read about him, I understand he's the most compassionate God. He's the most forgiving God. He's the kindest God. He's the ocean of all opulences, wealth, strength, beauty, intelligence, renunciation. If I really understand who Lord Krishna is in his pastimes, and I'm part of him, then I can find that place within me. that's joyful, that isn't miserable and worried because one minute I'm happy, the next minute I'm cross, I'm frustrated because I'm looking for that connection and I'm not getting it. Beautiful question, Sarah. Really, really great question. We have to put work in it. We have to put work in it from a place of our consciousness. We have to put work in it from a place of our body, what we're eating. If we're, I'm not here to tell anybody about your life choices, but Bhagavatam, Bhagavad Gita, Ramayana, Ayurveda tells us that if we make certain choices, like intoxication, if we drink intoxication, it's actually poison, so it poisons your body, but also it affects your aura. So your energy is very vulnerable. So if you're making your body vulnerable by having alcohol or eating certain foods that come from violence, then you're going to experience fear, you're going to experience doubt. I'm not here to say it's right or wrong, but I'm saying that if you want to be on that path to find out who I am, the Shastras have been saying it for thousands of years. Do some meditation, chant. In Kali Yuga, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu became the sages and the saints. Sometimes we think sages and saints, why don't they just get a job? But in the Vedic culture, that was their job, because they're praying for peace globally. They're doing yagyas for globally so that there can be peace. So these saints and sages, they love us more than we even understand. The stranger will love us. And in their prayers, one of them was praying that, please, my Lord, as Kali Yuga progresses, there's more hypocrisy, there's more quarreling, there's more anger, resentment, irreligion, falsity, bluffing, cheating, fear, doubt, and of course with hypocrisy and quarreling is harsh speech. All of these things diminish us as human beings because they stop us living the life we're meant to be living. And so Chaitanya Mahaprabhu came. In this picture here you can see the Panchatattva that in this day and age where there's hypocrisy and quarrel, simply by chanting, instead of doing complex yagyas or whatever, simply just chant the Hare Krishna mantra, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. So when you're chanting, it's a cosmic, transcendental vibration that begins to clear the dust or the dirt within our heart. Because we have this gross body, but there's a subtle body. And so we're talking about clearing that subtle body and our consciousness so that we can actually, we might just look like anybody out there, but our consciousness is changing, it's fine-tuning. So in terms of your question, Sarah, just to reiterate, chant, think about good food choices, and sign up for a course and learn about Bhagavad Gita. I mean, there are also sanghas, depending on where you're living. You can meet up with a group of people and families who study Bhagavad Gita. There's a lot of things, just check out the website, but do it. Yeah, you won't regret it. Otherwise, we just, till the end of our life, we live a life where we're not feeling quite connected. Thank you. It's a wonderful question. And take this up if I could. Yeah. Thank you. Thank you very much. So Lord Krishna says, Bhagavad says, meditate on the form of the Lord and you'll get to understanding. So just as you take darshan, as you stand up, ask for that prayer that I can connect with you. Hare Krishna, everyone. Srimati Bhaktivedanta Swami
Jayam Vishnupada Paramahansa Parivrajakaacharya Ashrota Rashrata Sri Sri Madhavaya Charanaravinda Bhaktivedanta Swami Maharaj Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai! ISKCON founder Acharya Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai! Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda Ki Jai! Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur Ki Jai! Prem Se Kamo Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaur Bhaktivinoda Ki Jai! Shri Shri Radha Krishna Gopa Gopinath Shama Kund Radha Kund Giri Govardhan Ki Jai! Shri Vrindavan Dham Ki Jai! Shri Navadvip Mayapur Dham Ki Jai! Ganga Mai Yamuna Mai Ki Jai! Bhakti Devi Chalasdevi Maharani Ki Jai! Samaveta Bhaktivinoda Ki Jai! Gaur Premanande! All glories to the Summer devotees. All glories to the Summer devotees. All glories to the Summer devotees. All glories to the lotus feet of Sri Guru and Sri Gauranga. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. So now, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to have the Nrsimha Arati. So if everyone please be seated. Hare Krishna.
Namaste Hare जगदीता हरे हरि रूपा जय जगदीश हरि जय जगदीश हरि जय जगदीश हरि महाराज की गौर देवानंद